All right, let's get into this. You ever scroll through your feed and it just feels chaotic? Like you're looking at the random junk drawer of a very strange machine? One second it's a celebrity having a meltdown, the next it's some deep sci-fi philosophy, and then boom, a random piece of forgotten history. Well, we've taken that exact feeling, that chaotic digital dream, and we're going to try to make sense of it. We're going to try and decode the algorithm. So our feed kicks off right here. It's comedian Pauly Shore, in the middle of this rambling, kind of wild monologue about getting banned from a popular podcast. It's raw, it's definitely a little unhinged, and you know what? It's our first piece of the puzzle.
And then the algorithm hits us with this. A total 180. We go from public comedy, drama, to the super private existential dread of the sci-fi author Philip K. Dick. And you feel that, right? That feeling of being totally drained, of just pouring your energy out into nothingness. Remember that feeling. Hold on to it.
Okay, next up, a completely different vibe. This is from an academic text, of all things, about the 90s rave scene in Dallas. And this is a voice of, well, of defiant hope. It's all about creating brand new realities, these secret little worlds that just played by their own rules, hiding right under the nose of the mainstream. And to round out our initial scroll, the algorithm gives us this. And it's just heartbreaking. This is Monica Lewinsky looking back and describing what it was like to watch the media create a character for her, a version of herself that she literally did not recognize.
So let's recap. We have a chaotic comedian, a despairing sci-fi author, a hopeful academic, and a woman who had her identity completely hijacked. What on earth connects these people? Well, they're all clues, right? They're pieces of a puzzle spit out by what we're calling the chronically online algorithm. And today, we're going to find the signal in all that noise.
So the first clear pattern that really starts to emerge from the feed is this idea, the idea of the manufactured persona. You know, that gap between who we really are and the self we have to perform for everybody else. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you have the character the media built, this aggressive, unstable girl. But on the other side, her reality. She was 22 years old. Her feelings were real. She was caught in this massive, undeniable power imbalance with the most powerful man on the planet. I mean, they're two completely different stories, fighting for the same space. And it's not just about the media, right? That external pressure, it can get inside your own head. Look at this from comedian Bert Kreischer. He's talking about being alone, about to get into a cold plunge. He didn't even want to do it, but he did it anyway, just so the people in the next room would hear him do it, so the story of him, his persona, would stay intact. He was performing for an audience that wasn't even there. Okay, let's jump to our next theme, and you'll see how this all starts to build. We're leveling up from just performed identities to entire performed realities. These hidden worlds that are bubbling up just under the official story we all get told. Remember that quote about Dallas? Well, this is that world. A culture that was designed to be temporary, intentionally undocumented. It was a whole network of after-hours parties and secret clubs that acted as, and I love this phrase, temporary autonomous zones. They were just places that existed completely outside the rules of the straight-laced city all around them. A whole other reality, just thriving in the dark. Then the algorithm pushes this idea even further into some really speculative territory. It starts pointing us toward these hidden narratives about huge, iconic figures. You've got the official story of Mark Twain, the beloved American author, and then you have the well-documented and, let's be honest, deeply unsettling Angelfish Club he created for girls as young as 10. Or Michael Jackson, the king of pop, put right next to these wild theories about occult rituals and secret societies. The feed is basically asking, is the official story ever the whole story? Okay, so we've got performed selves and hidden worlds. Now the feed takes a really wild turn. It starts to suggest that maybe reality itself isn't as solid as we think, that maybe it's more like a projection, something that's being shaped by what's going on inside our own heads. Check this out. The algorithm points to this really strange cluster of shared memories. They're from people who were in those gifted and talented school programs back in the 80s and 90s. And people from all over the country remember the exact same weird details, being tested for ESP with cards, having these weird repressed memories of drowning, drinking strange pink liquids out of Dixie cups. It feels less like an education program and more like something else, something hidden. So, how is any of that even possible? Well, the feed offers up a potential framework, the holographic universe theory.
The basic idea here is that reality isn't the solid sticks and stones world we think it is. It might be more like a projection, like a hologram, a reality that is actually kind of plastic and malleable and responds directly to our own consciousness.
Now, if that sounds a little too much like science fiction, just look at this. This is a real-world, totally documented example of the mind creating physical reality. In a study, 30% of cancer patients who were given a placebo, literally a sugar pill, lost their hair. Why? Because they were told it was a toxic chemo drug. Their belief created a physical result. The mind literally projected a reality onto the body. Wild.
Okay, so we have manufactured personas, we have hidden worlds, and we have a reality that might just be a projection of our own minds. 3 really strange, disconnected threads. But then, the algorithm gives us one last piece of data. A single concept that acts like a key, and it unlocks the logic of the entire feed.
And here it is. I know, the source title is bizarre, it's got My Little Pony and a crying emoji, but trust me, this is our Rosetta Stone. This is the thing that helps us decode everything we've seen so far.
And the concept that unlocks it all is the tulpa. It's an idea from Tibetan mysticism, and it's basically a being, or an object, or even a whole reality that's brought into existence purely through intense, collective focus and belief. It's a shared thought that becomes real.
And just look at how perfectly this ancient mystical concept maps onto the modern internet. Step 1, an idea gets shared. Could be a meme, a conspiracy, a political story. Step 2, a community forms around it, and they all focus their belief on it. Step 3, the algorithms kick in and amplify that belief, showing it to more and more people who already agree. And finally, step 4, that idea hardens, and it becomes a shared, self-sustaining reality for that group.
And that brings us to the central thesis of this whole thing. The internet isn't just a network for sharing information. It is the most powerful and efficient engine for creating tulpas, for manufacturing realities that has ever existed in human history. So now, let's use this key, this idea of the tulpa, to go back and look at our data. Suddenly, political polarization isn't just a disagreement over policy, is it? It's a full-blown war between 2 competing tulpas, 2 completely separate realities that have been willed into existence by collective belief and amplified by algorithms. Each side literally cannot understand the world the other side is living in.
And you can see how this plays out for individuals right here. That version of me that I didn't recognize that Monica Lewinsky was talking about, that's a tulpa, a thought form created by the media and the public. The wave of hate Machine Gun Kelly gets for his relationship, that's another one. Bert Kreischer performing for an audience in his head. Pauly Shore's chaotic rants feeding the very algorithm that defines him. They are all trapped in a battle with these tulpas that have been created for them.
And all of a sudden, that Philip K. Dick quote from the very beginning, it makes perfect, chilling sense. He's describing people trapped inside a reality that they didn't invent, that they don't like, but that they're just forced to endure. It is the perfect description of someone forced to live inside a tulpa that has been manifested around them.
So what we're left with is this. The algorithm isn't just showing you content. It's handing you the building blocks for reality itself. It's offering you the pieces to construct a world, brick by brick, with your attention and your belief. And that leaves one last really big question. Not for the celebrities, not for the politicians, but for you. If the algorithm is feeding you the pieces to build a world, what world are you choosing to create?